Mm, Morning again, everyone, and thank you for your participation, whether you are in Ramallah or through Zoom. My name is Amr Shaban, head of PalThink, and I'm currently in Cairo, as well as 120,000 Palestinians who left Gaza because of the war, destructive war. But we are still attached to this glimpse of hope that we return back to our country, and we hope that this nightmare ends today. And we are honored at PalThink to participate with the Mass Institute to facilitate the emergency and recovery and relief session. We did multiple sessions, extraordinary ones in various aspects. Is that it's not funded by any party. We did 6 sessions and prepared multiple papers, works related to multiple issues, not only about reconstruction, but also about certain issues with regard to the destruction and catastrophe in Gaza. And we participated with experts from inside, outside of the country in order to support and orient the view and ownership of the Palestinian cause. And as you know, and as was said, that there are dozens of plans for the second day of war and for the reconstruction, and many of them lack density of the Palestinian context. Some do not engage with or not engage the Palestinian side, and some have them as a decor in the plan just by name. But here we are present to fill in the gap in these plans. And again, I welcome everyone, all of the guests, and also my colleague Yahya Saraj. I'm very pleased to see you. Thank God you are safe. And thank you for your participation, for your resilience, and our condolences to the martyred members of your family in Palestine, in Gaza, in the West Bank, and in Jerusalem as well. Dr. Yahya is a university professor, and he's a Gaza resident, and he's always in contact in continuous support with the people in the street in Gaza, and he was one of those who called for the creation of a plan that was described by some of the colleagues as being exclusive, special, and we discussed it at Mass and Palping Institute. And Dr. Yahya has ordered a mean. This is why also I give him his respect. And he's a very humble person. He doesn't like to show off, and this is why he doesn't he cannot be president. Sorry, he cannot be a minister because of his humbleness, and and hope that we can revisit Palestine, revisit Gaza, and we have also our young colleague Ali Abdul Wahab, who started this session as the first speaker, and we are proud of those young entrepreneurs and experts, and I believe his future is prospect, along with his Palestinian peers. So again, I welcome you again. Thanks to Raja, Dr. Ali, Dr. Hussein, and we start with Dr. Musif, and he's an expert and researcher in the economic aspect and civil causes research. Musif, your name is special and also cannot be forgotten. It's a unique name. We have 2 questions for you, and we hope that you stick to 10 to 15 minutes, and I will be facilitating this session. 10 minutes at best, 15 as max. What are the best or most important tools utilized by the Palestinian Authority, if applicable, and strategies to ensure a governance and a leadership of the Palestinian Authority for the reconstruction and recovery, taking into consideration that many of the Palestinian members see that the interventions of the Palestinian Authority at the technical, political, and economic level are very limited. And the second question, Musif, is that how can we coordinate between the plans? As you know, we have 12 plans. How can we, or how is it possible to coordinate between those plans and come up with one unified plan to be implemented? Dr. Musif, the floor is yours. Thank you, friend Omar. Your questions are important. I would say maybe the second question will be legitimate for me on how to coordinate for the plans. I can answer it through my presentation, and I will stick also to time. I worked a little bit with my colleague Ali on these plans, and I did I did my own limited contribution to these subjects, and I think within this research we try to tackle the main question: what are the plans on the table? And I want to tackle first of all, so that we don't have to think a lot or overthink a lot. We saw that some plans, after analysis at mass, is that some plans of the Palestinian Authority can be integrated into other plans, and I will review them now. For example, the Phoenix plan done by the Ministry of Strategic Planning that represent connection of the West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem together, and sustainability plan. And it's an actual attempt to reestablish or restructure the geographic structure of Palestine to reassert governance and jurisdiction. We have four main goals. The first one is to enhance the control and jurisdiction, sustainability and flexibility, mutual planning and local leadership, and then connection and regional integration. It's an overall and inclusive plan, and it's about connecting Gaza and the West Bank and East Jerusalem geographically, and not only that, but also to connect it economically and politically. The East Jerusalem is being addressed as one part, as an integral part of the national cohesion. The strategic utilization of the applicable spaces, also planning to reestablish geographical connection, expansion of the local institutions' capabilities, urban centers, agricultural and urban fields, environmental and cultural sites, and also vital routes that connect the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and Jerusalem. Also, it seeks to build governance institutions that is capable of leading the spatial development, such as the rehabilitation of structural governance, rehabilitation of infrastructure, residential communal programs for the families that were affected by the war, and the national ID, Palestinian ID, and with the participation of the local community. And also the sustainability in terms of the environment, the ministry's leadership, etc. And we have spatial frameworks that would be some goals would be on the long run, short run, medium run, and also it tackles the risks such as the Israeli obstacles, the funding, the the split or the political split between parties, and the non-sustainability of security. And as a critical overview, we would like to enhance that all of the plans were critically reviewed and you have them beforehand. And you'd see that at some point, sometimes we exaggerated some, at some point, we didn't integrate some aspects in some plans. But I think that some plans are exaggeratedly criticized. So I want to tackle three issues on the Palestinian Authority plan. First of all, the over optimism or the exaggerated over optimism, wishes and assumptions. Second of all, the lack of jurisdiction and the occupational or the occupation obstacles. And the third one is the centralization of these plans. And they all come together in all of the plans. It doesn't focus on the centralization, decentralization of the plan. With regards to the optimism, it actually has in its strategic overview some alternative means, and it assumes that we give up some of the national agendas and we give up some of the Palestinian national rights. And those are maybe some of the or part of the answer for your question, Dr. Omar. And is that all plans or most of them do not actually tackle on the case of the jurisdiction and control over the Palestinian areas, and a lot of them face the obstacles of the political situation and dilemma, and it doesn't shed light on the continuous wars and continuous obstacles posed on them by the Israeli occupation, and it doesn't take into consideration the continuous planning and the results that come up through the planning or throughout the planning process because of the current situation. And it also turns a blind eye to the role or chaotic role, let's say, of the Palestinian Authority. Abstract valuation is that it was a courageous project in its attempts. It's clear in its language, and it tries to reach as an attempt to reconstruct the house internally, logically, in the face of colonization. And this could be a foundational plan for either a political conflict or negotiations that would lead to a or unified solution to the Palestinian cause. And as a summary, and in my opinion, this can be seen as a national plan with an actual attempt that could lead into the realization of the national agenda and the views of the Palestinian community, because it mixes between the spatial planning, reconstruction, and developmental, economic, and social aspects, and connects the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem. And this is why we need to stick to it and build on it in order to mitigate the lacks in the plan and to reach and to integrate it with the Phoenix plan, because it has an actual response and strategic overview and observes the social cohesion and focuses on the war governance and integrates municipalities, also academic institutions such as universities and international parties into the work, and provides the prioritization such as resident infrastructure, governance, development, and public services that are crucial for the beginning of the initiative to reconstruct and recover in Gaza. And as a final, our conclusion is that the Palestinian plan proves that the Palestinians can come up with a plan or even better plan that, than the external ones imposed on us. And if we deal with them, as Dr. Hassan stated, if we deal with them not in a state of a business plan, because we understand that those international plans are have their certain agendas. We understand that we as Palestinians can come up with a national plan that would pour into the all good of the society. And how we did it is that we at Mass we did a separate study at the best practices of reconstruction, and Dr. Omar Shaban was part of this study, and we did the best priorities and standards for the best practices for the cities that were destructed as a result of war, and we tried to implement them or adapt them to our situation in Gaza. But we need to for these best practices to be emphasized, enhanced, to give prioritize for the creation of better livelihood and more sustainable livelihood, and to start from the first day after the war to activate the public, private sector, sorry, and the civil society institutions, the local economy, and to work immediately on effective coordination, on the exchange of information, and to bring all of those parties together to avoid duplication. And at the final, it's that we are under a fierce economic situation, wholesome destruction of Gaza, lots of obstacles and challenges. And if we do not bring in the political support, the acceptance both on a local and international level, we will stay at the state of planning instead of phase of implementation. So those are the main conditions by which you start to implement instead of only to plan. And since I have 2 more minutes, I would say that we get rid of all of the plans and bring them under the umbrella of one plan that we call it a mother plan, in collaboration with the Palestinian Authority, and to enhance it in integration with the Phoenix plan, and to branch the rest of the plans from this plan, so that construction, for instance, or urban reconstruction, be part of those branched plan, residency be part of those branched plans, but the Palestinian Authority to adopt only one mother plan under which would be an umbrella for the rest of the other plans, and to actually to make sure that those efforts are solely Palestinian, and the international community would only be supporting in terms of funding, and I would be coordinating between the and sorry, to have the Palestinian Authority only run as a coordinator or facilitator of those plans around, and the other plans is that you start to think that we are taking the Palestinian Authority out of the general prospect, and we cannot waste the efforts of, for instance, the Ministry of Planning to jump from one plan to the other throughout the year instead of having one plan. So this is my recommendation. So before we approve a plan, we need to adapt a plan and approve one plan collectively before we submit it for official approval, and then we start to include any other branch plans into the main or mother plan as previously stated. So thank you for taking the time.
You surprised me when you said uh, not necessarily do we need to coordinate between these plans. It became a bazaar. It's actually true. I myself, as a researcher, I don't have time to review them. Some of them are contradictive, and some of them are need to be harmonized. So the question is, why do we have so many plans? Is it due to lack of having a national plan and therefore the floor is open for so many? We should take into consideration the Palestinian national plan to speak of it positively. We have not had a participatory approach. We reiterate this. Thanks again. And before I move to Dr. Yahya, I was requested to have a small presentation on the Egyptian plan, which has become an Arab plan now. And I won't take much more of your time. This plan has been submitted in the Arab Summit, which was conducted on the 4th of March in Cairo, and it was an emergency summit to discuss the Palestinian situation and present the plan. In terms of the summit, there were 6 countries, and at the time, the question was actually why was Saudi and UAE and Tunisia and Algeria and this Egyptian plan, which has become an Arab plan for the Palestinians, and I hereby am guided by what Wa'el Zakut, who has mentioned this earlier, and I wish him the best of luck. During one of the sessions in Mass, he said that the Egyptian plan has become an Arab plan because they have combined both plans. So it's not an Egyptian plan, it has become an Arab plan, and it has discussed $51 million, has 90 pages, and discusses 6 areas in Gaza, like buffer zones, where it would be used to rehabilitate the community. 6 areas are not sufficient. We said that each area should include 30 to 50 thousand of the population, and take into consideration that displacement is growing by the day, and Israel is creating new status quos on the ground. And as you well know, and you follow up the news on daily basis in Gaza, there are warnings of actually invading all the city of Gaza, pushing people further to the south. Gaza is already overcrowded, and it's only 360 square meters, and each of the area is only 25% of the 362 square meters, which used to be overpopulated worldwide, anyways. And we very happy to welcome Dr. Yahya, and I hope that happy that you're with us again. And I have so much appreciation to everything that you have done for the resilience, for the work, and everything. There are additional questions to the questions. There are more questions than the list I have. How can we set a plan under war? How did you meet? How did you set the resources and all that? How did you come up with this idea? An idea in such a situation, in a catastrophic situation where there lack of water resources, and no accessibility, you don't even have any kind of livelihood. It's some kind of Palestinian miracle that you were able to do. So a couple of other questions is, how do you plan with the realistic challenges in Gaza, especially for response? And what are the local governance resources available to implement the plan. So we're talking about the financial and funding aspect of it, considering the international donor community, which is not quite promising. And the other part is relevant to the management of this plan, whether during the war or after. So you have 15 minutes, Ms. Dr. Yahya, and we welcome you once again. Very happy to have you among us. Peace be upon you all. I have a presentation. If you can please present it to everyone. Otherwise, I could just read it out. First of all, thank you for giving us this opportunity and following up on the reconstruction. We sincerely appreciate it. The Gaza Phoenix plan is quite ambitious. It represents a framework that creates a launching pad for all the reconstruction programs. It shows the overall philosophy that the local councils and experts in Gaza and abroad, and it's multifaceted. It has Palestinian experts who are working from volunteer based. And to answer Mr. Omar's question, it's true, it's a challenge. And I personally, when we started endorsing the plan, we have not hoped and we have not even, we did not think that it would come up to such a professional and such a complex and detailed plan. I'm very happy and proud of the outcome. As you've mentioned, due to the dire conditions that we lived in, and specifically in the city of Gaza and the Gaza Strip, it is amazing to come up with such a plan. This plan has been endorsed by the Union of, or the Federation of Municipalities in Gaza, and it was presented to all the municipalities and the mayors. And in the 6th of January of 2025, it was announced publicly to the media. Work was multi-diversified and various expertise and sectors. We had planning, architecture, legal, economy, environment, health, history, heritage, everything was included. We had an expert of each of the fields to be part of this planning. And how we were able to gather all these experts, honestly, we appreciate the working team, and we are going to mention them later on today. We can summarize this whole plan in 6 or 7 points. It's a sustainable development plan, deeply rooted locally, and I'm very happy that the comments were have really noticed that and reiterated this point. And we're proud that we were able to have this with the support of all the Palestinian experts internally, like in nationally and abroad. Also reviving the Gaza Strip and having it move towards a better future and learning from lessons learned and overcoming the challenges that we currently live in. And it's trying to transform the current catastrophe to make it into an opportunity. So, and to have better productivity in the future. It's also a roadmap for future pathways to have contingency and urgent relief. It also tries to maximize the resources for reconstructing Gaza. It's original and effective, and it shows the directive of Gaza to move towards a future that Gaza sets the rules for it, or the national conditions to be specific. And it sees Gaza not as a white page or something new to create. It's a country that has been there. It's a city that has been there, and it needs to be revived from its origins and to have continuity. The plan has 4 levels. One, the level was the executive board, and it was led by Palestinian experts who were well known, and they have worked with international organizations, reputable organizations, and their expertise has fed into it and has benefited us. This team has started by a group of not only from Gaza, but from Gaza, from the West Bank, and from diaspora. and they have all worked volunteer based, and they were not paid at all. Their role was to coordinate, to analyze, to consult, and to conduct discussions and set the drafts. There was a specialized team from Gaza, including experts from the municipality of Gaza, including also experts from the West Bank, and faculty from Birzeit University, as well as students from Birzeit University. Their role was to provide information, to set the agendas, and the feedback. Also, there was a consulting body that provided the expertise input and overall feedback, and the technical team that were involved, their role is major. They set the analysis of the situation, the challenges, and they also provided the plans that you're all impressed by. Just due to time restrictions, there's a multilateral methodology that had internal discussions, focal points, university students, and social participation, considering the situation that we're living in. The overall structure of it, to set the vision, the discussion, the main principles, and the methodology, and in addition to certain pages that listed how to read this. It's like instruction how to deal with it, and then how to divide work in three phases: contingency, emergency, and backup phase, and the midterm stabilization and prepare, and it's the stability and reconstruction, and then the long term, which is the reconstruction of the city, and then several annexes, that detailed annexes. The three phases, as you can see, probably you don't see on the screen, that they're all intertwined. The first phase starts immediately from the moment that we start at right now. We did not wait until the aggression ends. We started, it's an emergency plan that's ongoing, and we expect it to continue 6 months after the ceasefire. And the intermediate plan would start after the ceasefire and stay for 3 years. And the third phase would start from the ceasefire immediately, and it would last for up to 5 years, up to 10 years, probably. The overall recommendations for this plan is to reconstruct in a better way, build for better, and to work on different design plans. As for the short term, there are three principles: to preserve life, relief, and temporary shelter. The second is stability and reconstruction. It includes providing the basic needs and transitioning to normal life gradually, and planning for reconstruction. The long-term period include all the sectors, including housing, economy, transportation, health, education, all these sectors. And it has discussed these sectors at four levels. The first level is the regional level, and then the urban level within the cities, and regionally within Gaza and its relation with external parties, and then the cities, and then the architecture of some of the institutions and some of the buildings, and the way they should be constructed in a way to create an intertwined strategy at all four levels. Additionally, part of the strategic planning is that it has divided three areas, or three, the green area, which is the eastern part at the borderline with the green line, and the seashore, which should require specific investment and specific planning, and also included for the Gaza Valley because of its importance, and then the urban parts of the city. And the relation did not, and this did not neglect the transportation internally and with the West Bank, and regionally with the neighboring country, for such as having a railway in the eastern part for heavy and light weight rail for the mid section of it would be an electrical tram, for example, in addition to in order to reduce the transportation um, and the traffic jams that they have. And having an also a ferry from Gaza to Rafah. And this is an old idea which has been reintroduced, in addition to other details about the importance of having a port and an airport. Um, that would be important for the international and regional trade and communication. Addition to having tradeways with Jordan and Egypt and Saudi Arabia and the various other countries, and of course the um, relationship with the West Bank. One of the main challenges is the ongoing aggression and the ongoing siege. As you all know, this occupation is destructing all the plans. We're trying to plan ambitiously. We need to end this challenge, end the occupation, and the aggression, and the siege, because without having clear settlement that allows the Palestinian people to resurrect, then there's no way to do so. We're going to continue to stand where we are right now because of the political divide. As you all know, the political divide is not less dangerous than the occupation. We have to be honest and face it, and we have to end this political divide permanently. Because if there's no political will and social will, then we would not be able to end this political divide immediately. I'm very optimistic to have it done soon. And in terms of funding, it's a challenge for all the plans that we have. There are different sources of funding, and it's not easy either. And it requires international agreements and social and national agreements internally in Palestine. The Gaza plan is open to constructive feedback, and we're ready to work with everyone to implement or to upgrade and implement the plan. And I second what Mr. Messief has said. It's important to endorse a national plan, one national plan, and to have consensus on it. And we're fully ready and open to further develop the Phoenix plan with the Palestinian national plan in a way that has full inclusive social participation for the society, and the local governance would have a major role in overseeing and managing and implementing it. And this way, we would be able to achieve our goals. And if we want to address the last question, is what are the local governance tools that we're depending on? We depend on what's available to us in terms of expertise, in terms of capacity of engineers, admins, and economic experts at the municipalities. We have a steady relationship with experts in the West Bank and abroad, and some of the experts who are international as well. We also have a platform for reconstruction of Gaza, which was established about a year and a few months ago, and it includes international experts. We have some international experts who are also working on green urban areas in Gaza. These are the tools that we're trying to depend on or make put to use. We need to have a local administration or management for the plan, and also security within the Gaza Strip, and we should ensure the political and security stability for the region in order to be able to move forward. And thank you all, and we hope that this aggression would end soon, and we hope that we would have a ceasefire as soon as possible upon the current negotiations, and we hope that it would be implementable as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Thank you, and we wish you all safety, and we hope that this nightmare in Gaza would end. And once again, Ali, we're gonna see you twice. I believe we agree again that we're happy and lucky to see you twice today, but we're not gonna give you 15 minutes now. We're only going to give you 7 minutes for two questions. There's another study that was conducted by Did the study in is the study did it bring something new, or is it just a repetition? And would it be fully Gybert is a project that we were, as PAL think, we were partners with it with another German institution, included 11 research papers and discussed reconstruction on various aspects, and it was produced by Palestinians. We had Monsieur and Mr. Pseso, in addition to other Palestinian experts from Gaza and from Cairo and West Bank and the diaspora, and we're very proud of that. Ali, the floor is yours. 7 minutes only. And 2 minutes that I spoke are also included, so you only have five left. We wish everyone safety and very happy to have Dr. Yahya Sarraj among us. Briefly speaking, in terms of the initiatives, as we've mentioned, as FES, which is a German initiative, in addition to other initiatives that PALTHINK and MAS has worked on, such as the consulting consortium. They do not provide funding, or they include executive points in addition to principles, in addition to the guidelines that discuss social justice and building housing for the marginalized and so on. So it's not presented to be. What's good about it is that it includes the political language into it, and in a way, it's to break the stereotype of being followers to donors, and any agendas that are like using development language and so on. But I would like to share a screen quickly for people to understand what the nature of the plans are. Ali also, Ali Shad has also had a small presentation on the governance plan that discussed transitioning from the refugee camp to other urban areas, which is different than REND 25. And presenting in front of you right now these plans, the consortium that PALTHINK and MAS has worked on in 6 sessions, and also summarizes the idea of the reasons and so on, and then includes the guidelines such as accountability, updating information and data, and so on, and following up on the focus group and the consortium that was conducted, and additionally in the FES and other. And we can't take this
Thank you, my friend Ali, and thank you from Musyaf and Dr. Yahya as well. And we open the floor for discussions. I think we have around 20 minutes before we move into the lunch break. We will be having lunch with you, even though most of you are online. First of all, let's take two from the hall and two from the Zoom so that we can manage the time. If we continue, we can take more. George, first of all, a comment and then a question. The comment is that the idea of why it is important to see what the international research institutes say about these plans. It's not that we want to adopt their ideas, but we need to understand where this discussion is heading, because we are not alone in this world, and we we are not saying that they have the capability to implement those plans, brand, etc., and people lobbying with this, people advertising for their plans. So we need to understand where we stand in this sort of standoff. So we need to pressure them, to challenge them, to communicate with them, to reach out with our own ideas and to tell them about their own plans and what they lack, what they need to focus on. And this is the comment, the remark. And the second is the questions, that one of the ideas of RAND cooperation for the first phase, first 5 years, is that there should be governance through the municipalities. And I understand the political aspects and challenges of this, but my questions for the experts in this room, probably they are more capable of shedding light on this. And I think I discussed this with Dr. Omar directly on this topic, that how what's the effectiveness of this discussion? We as Palestinians, can we do this in a politically safe environment that can connect Gaza and the West Bank together? So is it feasible also as Palestinians to discuss this? Not only because it's RAND, but because RAND is advocating for an alternative political stream. So I need to, maybe I would love to hear different overviews with regards to this. And thank you, George, for hearing from you twice today. And I hope we can manage to answer both your remark and your question. So thank you everyone for these analysis. It was fruitful and full analysis with regards to the proposal by Brother Misyef. Probably we shouldn't delve into all of the plans and coordinate between them. Maybe we should adopt the national plan and integrate it with the Phoenix plan. But the point is that what are the means by which we can come up with a collective recommendation and approval? Because we do not want only one recommendation that we can come up with today and then we move on. We need to forward, because we have reached a point of no return in the country. We need something that we can continue working on in the field, on the ground. We do not stay on the phase of coordination. Of course, we cannot accept all of the plans, but we cannot only give a recommendation and then lay it on the shelf. So we need to collectively agree on this and move forward, not move on. Maybe Sahar, if you can introduce yourself, because we move on. Sahar Jalad, instructor at Wizard University. I worked with international institutions with the World Bank for more than 15 years, 12 of those in the administration or management of lands and landscape. Currently, I work at Birzeit University. We have one through Zoom, Mahmoud Sesou. Because Dr. Yahya, greetings to you. I feel optimistic in this session compared to the past session, and I agree with Mr. Masif on his recommendations. With regards to the Phoenix plan, is an extraordinary plan, exclusive plan, and maybe we can agree on a national plan that we can integrate it into this, and we can contact the funders. And this is the step that we require from the Palestinian Authority. And the second one is a technical to us, Mas, Dr. Omar, is that we start with a detailed reconstruction plan. And we did one throughout the past 6 years. We have the plan, and we need application, and we assess the mitigation, the implementation, mitigation of plans and the implementation phase. So I recommend Dr. Yahya to reach out to the technical team and to do plans separately for the water, for the energy, for the transportation, etc., so that we can be ready when it's approved. And I believe that after this, we can move to the second level, to the detailed technical issue. The complicated one we leave aside before we move into the, let's say, the engineering strategic planning. Thank you. And Dr. Muhammad, the floor is yours. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon. I don't have a question. I only have a remark. First of all, I thank Yahya for his intervention with regards to the plan that is considered a realistic one under those current catastrophic circumstances, along with your peers and colleagues. I wanted to personally thank you for the presentation that you provided, and if there's anything that I can personally do, by all means, please reach out to me through Dr. Omar, and he knows how to reach out to me. So I thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad, and we're always honored to have you. We have a couple of questions on the Q&A. Uh, Two can be, or the three can be integrated in one. Thank you, Dr. Yahya. All respect, understand that you taught us and taught the whole world the meaning of resilience, work, and planning and building for the future. So what's the role that we can work towards support and advocacy that would ensure that it reflects on the recovery plans both locally and prioritizing the residency plans, and that can be translated effectively into a commitment both politically and financially by the partners both on the regional and international level. And the second question, did you tackle the Phoenix, or did the Phoenix plan uh, tackle tackle itself being more than a detailed plan into the, or did it shed light into the legal framework in order to reconstruct the whole plan under the passive patronage that takes the international law into consideration? We understand that we should always remain optimistic, and under the current circumstances, we try to understand how we can reconstruct the past in order to build for the future. Dr. Hassan, moving to the right clockwise. Even though I sit on the right, I consider myself a leftist. First of all, thank you for all of the interventions presented by the speakers. I understand that there are great efforts to reach what could be the final goal, but there's a general problem, is that all of the plans, governmental, the public, and the private, should have a roadmap at the end that we can agree on collectively, that any of these plans, if they should be implemented based on this roadmap, everyone on the ground would be a beneficiary technically. And just as my colleagues said, reconstruction financially is not the actual goal of us. Our goal is the psychological and resilience reconstruction. So I request Mass to follow up on the recovery and rehabilitation, that we should have an effort that is collectively adapted both on the national level, social, political level, in order to be able to bring the people back to their normal lives, at least.
شكرا. بروح على شو تفضل دكتور ريان.
Dr. Rayan,
يعطيكم العافية دكتور ريان درويش.
باختصار الله يرضى عليك.
Dr.
أنا بس بدي
Dr. Rayan Darwish, I would like to
بدي
say
أحكي من فوق بدي أحكي من تحت بدي أحكي
that I don't want to speak from the top down, but from the bottom up. As a farmer, the language of a farmer or a Bedouin tending to their lands and tending to their sheep, their settlements or outposts, why our plans are not implemented, and when implemented, they are obstacled and they are halted. There are standards and pillars by which we do not take into consideration, unfortunately, at all. And this is why I would say those plans are merely decor. Because when we speak about the borders, resources, the programs, and the programs which are more effective than the actual plan, uh, I say we lack the actual implementation on a realistic level. The relationship with Israel, when we think about the future, uh, not not looking, or at least not taking the past into consideration.
سؤال مباشر وخلص. بعطيكش اكثر بغيرك لا يمكن خلص. يلا سؤالك المباشر.
So probably maybe skip to the question. In short, each person is working individually, unfortunately, and each country, each Arab country that is contributing to this does not give me what they provide. They give the plans based on what I will benefit from. So the reality that we live in is more complicated than a bunch of plans that exceed the number of actual population of Palestine, unfortunately. When we speak about reconstruction, some of the external plans, that some of them, I wouldn't say all of them, they turn a blind eye towards the Palestinian people's lives to self-determination. And this is a very important point that should be taken into consideration, especially when we speak about the economy of catastrophes, the economy of genocide, and our own exclusive catastrophe, which is that we do plans under the occupation or in continuous occupation, continuous war and genocide. So the main pillar of the developmental plans are always the citizens. Citizen, the development of the citizen from, and also to the citizen from the citizen. And this is why most of the plans fail, because the citizens are the least of our focus. Uh, we should focus on the idea that the plans should be in benefit or in favor of the citizen, not the other way around. The citizen is not the tool, the plan is the tool for the citizen. When the citizen sees that those plans are at the end in favor of him or her, they would come to the conclusion that they would be part or they would be affiliated or loyal to those plans. So when we think about the Phoenix, for instance, plan, we should think about how we make the citizen at the center of the plan, to be a partner of this developmental plan, so that we can defend the developmental aspects through the citizen and not the other way around. Thank you, everyone.
الدكتور سميح العبد بقدرش نحكي له لا.
We have Dr. Samih Al Abed in half a minute, please, because we need to finalize. what I wanted to say is that in short, that the plans are always beneficial. We have a goal that we want to reach, but in order not to be overwhelmed by the many plans that we have, in terms of the shadowness that we live, spatial, the temporal, those plans should not be static, should be dynamic. We should have different scenarios to reach the goal that we are planning. The strategic planning in terms of normal conditions could work out, but in terms of uncertainty and shadowness that we live under, this scenario planning should be the only way in order to achieve the aim that you aspire to achieve. So, so every plan has their own overview, goal, mission, vision, but we should think of how we can translate those into scenarios in order to avoid the uncertainty and the shadowness that we face every day. Thank you, Dr. Samih, for sticking to the time in half a minute. We understand that we need to take the political framework or the political situation into consideration and, of course, the occupation and how we can, as Palestinian citizens, to implement those plans and how we can form a body by which we can work with and implement those under the patronage of the Palestinian Authority. Thank you, everyone. We have 8 minutes, 4 minutes to Dr. Muslim, 4 minutes to Dr. Yahya to finalize this session. There are lots of questions, of course, about the standards by which you can analyze and evaluate the goals, that how we can bring this in jurisdiction of the monitoring and controlling, the extent of the Israelis' obstacles implemented on these plans, and what are the or who are the parties that are going to benefit from the plans, and what's the relationship between Reconstruction plan and the political level. And I liked also a question of Dr. Sahar and how we can collectively agree, or in other terms, what's the role of the government in this. So I believe there should be a legal process led by the Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Planning, to explain and clarify the central plan and to name it, to identify it. For instance, the Ministry of Residency is responsible for the residency. The Ministry of Labor is responsible for employment. Everything should be should have a legislation issued by the Cabinet of Ministers so that we can plan correctly and agree or approve everything correctly. Because everyone, if everyone who's foreign with blue eyes and blonde hair comes in with a bag full of money and poses their own agenda, and we accept this, we wouldn't be reaching anywhere in the near future. So the idea is not about implementing Grand or any other plan, Phoenix plan, etc. I think we need a collective plan that we all agree to. We bring Grand, we bring, for instance, the Canadians, for instance, any other foreign entity, and we provide them with the plans that we have, and we tell them we have one plan that we all agreed on, and we need you to support it, instead of asking them on what they would like to support. Dr. Yahya, thank you, everyone, that we insist on agreeing on one plan, and we are always with this and in favor of this. Dr. Mamoun, my brother Mamoun, shed light or pointed the finger on the painful, let's say, area. And despite the current circumstances and the obstacles, we have a team that did a detailed plan for the water and dispensation plan, and on many different phases. And this plan we are trying to convert into implementational detailed projects and plans. And another team is working on transportation, routes, movements, etc., to work to an extent that reaches the year 50, and also use of the streets and how we can move mass populations throughout these roads. And despite the obstacles and challenges, we have engineers working around the clock despite those challenges. I thank Dr. Muhammad and everyone who participated and their readiness to support the Phoenix plan and to pour their experience and their effort into supporting our vision. And we are trying to end this split in the between the fractions, and we hope that we can achieve freedom and end the war on Gaza as soon as possible. So I hope and wish you safety, and we hope that you stay safe before we move into the lunch break. And let's give also at the end half a minute for the Ministry of Planning. We give you 1 minute for the Ministry of the Ministry of Planning, just for the clarification. Because we have recommendations, we need to make sure that we are on the same path. When working on the plan, there are details for each sector framework for the recovery and for the reconstruction. So there are details for each sector and interventions with certain costs that are predetermined and predefined, spatial and temporal planning, and that was part of the plan. And we tried to identify the spatial dimension in order to reach the reconstruction phase. So we have detailed plans for each sector, and to move from the Palestinian, Egyptian, Arab, or Arab Palestinian Egyptian plan that is agreed upon by the Arab Summit, to put forward an implementation project that has 56 different programs to implement this plan on the ground. So we move from one program to the other to come out with a package for each of the programs. And I'm sorry, I wish I had this beforehand to present to you, but I think this is something that we already worked on. And if we want to work on this in integration with the other plans, I think even if we work with two different paths, that these paths are not separate, but they go parallel, hand in hand with one another. So again, I thank everyone. Thank you, Dr. Yahya, thank you, Dr. Ali, Dr. Musyaf,